Hello, hello, and welcome. It is good to be with you all today. I'm going to give you a second to kind of catch up and join us. For those of you who know me, I am Daphne Smith, which if you know me, they probably don't need for me to say that. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Daphne Smith, and whether you know me or not, I am wondering if you know my very special guest today. She is a wave maker for sure. And so what's really fun is you are the very first one I've had as my wave maker.
Oh, that's exciting.
I'm so excited. So this is Michella Monte. Welcome.
Thank you.
And Michella is here today because we have something very special coming up, next month. I'm kind of like already mentally there, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much already April.
Yeah, I mean, close enough. So we want to share a little bit of Michella's story and how we met and why I consider her a wave maker and what's coming up in April. So we've got a lot of information to share. And I want to thank those of you who are watching with us. And I'm going to kind of dive right in, but then I'm going to backpedal. So if you read any of the commentary about Michella, you know that, I mean, is the official term like an adoptive mom? I don't want to, I try to be PC, but I'm not always good at it. So, okay.
No, mom first. Yeah, through adoption.
Okay. So she's a mom through adoption. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. So if you have questions about adoption, Michella has no idea. Pop them in the comments and we will try to address them as they pop up. And if not, she's going to have access and you'll be able to address those later. But what I wanted to just kind of do was not only highlight and feature Michella, I also want to go ahead and get you to know a little bit about this special organization and why I think she's a wave maker. So I met Michella last fall at the Northwest Arkansas Business Women's Conference. Shout out to the conference.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And you came to my booth.
Yeah.
I was there to promote my book, What's Your Scarlet Letter?
Mm-hmm.
And I think one word in particular kind of grabbed your attention in my subtitle. And that was the word shame. Yeah.
Sure.
And Michella doesn't have shame issues. She's got a big heart and a big vision. And that's what kind of made the connection, I think, right?
For sure.
So we're going to go back to that. But first of all, tell us about your journey to being a mom and a mom through adoption.
Yeah. So adoption is always something that I've had a passion for since I can remember. My grandmother actually fostered Native American Indians and brought them up from New Mexico, and they lived with my grandparents in northern Indiana. And so it's always kind of been part of what my family does, is opening their doors to kids who are in need.
Yeah.
So when we moved to Northwest Arkansas, my husband and I started pursuing just different ways, just knowledge, gaining knowledge in different ways that you could adopt. So we started through private adoption and adopted through a local attorney. My son Asher is now 5 and he is Marshallese. And so after we adopted him, we opened to be an adopt-only home through foster care. I wish I had known a little bit more about foster care adoption before we started. One of the misperceptions about adoption is that it's always expensive, but it's actually free to adopt through foster care.
Okay. Well, and you kind of raise a point that I'm not sure that everybody is aware of. You've got the foster system.
Yes.
And you can adopt through the foster system.
Yes.
Or is it are they all called private adoptions? If it's like between
No.
individuals or?
Yeah, no. So state adoptions are a little bit different than private adoptions. But throughout the US, there's 100,000 kids in the foster care system that are looking for their forever homes. So great resource if you're looking to go that route is Adopt US Kids. There was recently a movie called Instant Family that was produced by Paramount.
Yes, saw it. So glad I'm too old to do that because
You're actually not.
Yeah.
You want me to burst your bubble?
Yeah. No, trust me.
Mentally.
I'm like, oh, I'm glad I'm too old because wow, that was a really good movie. I mean, do you think it was a fair representation?
Oh, completely. So
Okay.
I've been to those fairs. I've been some of the people behind the scenes organizing those fairs, taking kids to those fairs. So yeah, Adopt US Kids is a fantastic resource. I know their executive director, but yeah, great. It will connect you through all the different states to what they call their heart galleries, which are usually photographs of the children that are waiting to find their forever homes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's actually how we found my daughter. There's an organization here in Arkansas called Project Zero, and they work alongside of DHS to help photograph some of those children that are waiting. And so my daughter's photograph appeared. So we brought her home a week after my son turned 2.
Okay.
And then 3 weeks later, my son's birth mom called us and told us she was pregnant again and that she was unable to care for that baby and asked if we would be willing to be that baby's parents.
Okay, so you went from no kids in your house to 3 babies.
2.5 years. Yeah.
Like super mom. Like,
super fast.
Super fast.
You just like
let's
had
keep it real.
to adapt.
Sure.
Yeah, there's no preparation for that. I mean, there's very little preparation for motherhood, let alone
Yeah, typically 9-ish months
instantly.
sometimes. But yeah, this is like last night there was no small person here.
Right.
And I didn't lose any sleep.
Yeah.
Right? Because I've heard this. Now, I don't know, you may be busting another bubble of mine. No, I'm kidding. But so I've heard that sometimes adoptive parents will, like, if they know the baby's coming, they'll like start messing with their sleep schedule before the baby gets there, just to kind of.
Why would you do that?
You're like, no,
you want to deprive yourself before the child comes. No, yeah, no, we relished our sleep-in time right up until the day. Actually, funny story. My first son, Asher, was born on Halloween. And so we got the phone call while I was at work, and like our team had done a barnyard theme, and like my hair was braided in pigtails, and my husband was at work in a leprechaun costume. So it was, I called him and I was like, you are going to change before we go to the hospital.
You are not.
I will meet you at home and then we will go. So yeah.
Oh my God.
It's always an adventure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So I was going to ask, like, why you started Shared Beginnings, because that's one of the things we want to talk about today. So here's something, whether you're watching live or you're watching recorded, if your grandmother, because I think that's so cool. So your grandmother kind of modeled this example for you.
Yeah.
And I know that so many things in my life, like my maternal grandmother graduated from college at age 69, y'all. So no excuses. Got a degree in communications at age 69. You know, I guess if you're not confident in your ability to communicate, keep going for it. But it was, but what that modeled for me was education always, right? There's no excuse not to grow. So if your grandmother taught you an invaluable lesson, share it in the comments for us. Please let us know. Just type in grandmother or maybe what the lesson is. And you will be perpetuating her legacy by sharing that with other people. So I look forward to reading your comments later on. But just because your grandmother modeled this behavior, you didn't have to adopt, but you said it was like really in your heart. You felt that way. So that's cool. I mean, wow, very admirable and just very giving. You know, I just think it's a wonderful gift that you were given to have that call. However, you didn't have to go start a 501c3. I mean, you know, there are a lot of things that have affected my life, and I have not gone out and started a nonprofit. But you have. So why? 3 kids in 2.5 years. You have a corporate career. You are, of course, also a wife.
Yeah.
And you're like, you know, between 2 and 3 a.m. when I'm not sleeping. Everyone else is.
How did you know I wasn't sleeping between those hours?
So you're like, I'm going to start a nonprofit.
Yeah.
Where did this come out from? Was it sleep deprivation? What made you start this?
Yeah, my husband would probably blame it on a lot of things. So I think that because we took different paths through adoption, we realized that kind of nationally, the trend is that numbers in foster care are increasing, and number of private adoptions, which usually relate to infant adoptions, are decreasing. And we noticed through our own private adoption that our birth mom just didn't get a lot of dedicated services. So she didn't get help in accessing healthcare. She didn't get help in connecting to social services, things that would have really bettered her life, and things that I felt she deserved. And you want to empower her and her family to be as stable as possible, because she's making such a brave choice and realizing that, you know, I'm not capable of parenting this child right now, but I want the best life for them. So Shared Beginnings was really born out of that desire to help birth moms reach a point of stability. So if they're going to make such a self-sacrificing decision, we want to make sure that they're at a much better point in life to where they're stable and not having to make that choice again.
Okay, cool. Wow. I like that word, empowered, you know, and equipping them. And that's what connected us.
Yes.
Was in my book, the book, What's Your Scarlet Letter? The subtitle is Recognize Your Hurt, Release Your Shame, and Reclaim Your Voice. And what I recall you telling me is, wow, this whole shame component is very rampant with birth moms.
Yeah.
And so that's how you and I connected, and that's what kind of drew me in, because I've got a very, very close friend who is adopted, and she met her person as her bio parents not until she was in her early 50s. Yeah. And she met both her mom and her dad. That's really cool. Within the same year. She was the only child either one of them ever had. They never got together. Wow. So, I mean, you know, it just, the stories, it's hard to put into words. And so even though I don't have a personal connection, if you will, or personal story, I do have a connection because I've also got other friends across the country, actually, from Florida to Georgia and all over, who have also adopted. And I think that's part of what drew me to you was, wow, what a story, what a wave maker. And I just really wanted to encourage you in your efforts and support both the bio moms, the birth moms, and then the moms through adoption. So I can only imagine what the process was like for you. So in hindsight, if somebody could have said, Michelle, know this, what is like one tip you would give somebody who is considering adoption?
Yeah. I think in some ways certain aspects were easier for me than I expected them to be, and other aspects were harder. So I am a networker naturally. And that's one of the things that you really need to be good at if you're looking at getting into adoption. You need to be able to cast your net wide, look at different avenues, be a self-promoter, because a lot of the connections that we're seeing now are coming through social media. And that's how adoptive moms are connecting with birth moms. They might be even in different states, but they're connecting first and then finding someone to legally facilitate the adoption. So being just willing to put yourself out there. Again, like adopting, even if you've had infertility issues and things like that, it's not a shameful thing. It's just an alternative way to grow your family.
Yeah.
And same for if you're a birth mom. It's an opportunity to grow your support system as well. So traditionally, I think adoptions have looked very closed, and people have kind of focused on the adoptive family and the child that's being placed into that family. But as a birth mom, as an expectant mom, you can grow your support and your family by choosing adoption. So I guess my one tip is definitely cast your net wide. Don't focus on just one area, and always be active. So when we were adopting, even through foster care, we volunteered at events like the fair that you saw on Instant Family. We volunteered at those events. We volunteered with DHS. We held little mini drives for their back to school needs and things like that, just so that the people at DHS knew us, but then also we were networking with other foster families, because sometimes families are just called to foster. And sometimes they'll have a child placed in their home that is looking for their forever family. And unless you're connected with those other families, you won't be top of mind.
Right.
So networking.
Right.
And giving back. So that was also something that kind of took our minds off of things. Because I think when you get into adoption and you're looking to adopt, it's very much like you're focused on kind of yourself and growing your family.
Sure.
But if you can focus on giving back to other people, that time moves so much faster.
Oh, sure.
And you get so much back out of the process.
Because the process, it's not we start on this date and we have a baby on this date. I can see how that could be a little crazy making. And also discouraging and a roller coaster, girl.
Right? Sometimes you're not given a time frame. A lot of times you're not given a time frame. So it's a way to keep yourself occupied. It's a way to grow your network, and you never know when opportunities will arise. I've had friends and coworkers that the opportunity has arisen through work because they were connected to a grandmother who was going to have a grandchild that they could not take into their home.
Wow.
But again, you're kind of growing your family differently already. So you need to be open to those situations.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. Because I know I would have no idea, how would you even start and what would you do to prepare? So, if you are the birth mom, there's classes, there's books, there's all these resources that you can go and get, but this is not uncharted territories, because adoptions, do you have any idea when adoptions started? Legally, or long time ago. Right? So this isn't something that's new to the world.
Right.
But connecting and the resources and using technology, that's
the use
of
technology
new.
And kind of the way that it's done, because before, I know my husband's grandmother was actually adopted during the Great Depression era, and she was, I believe, relinquished to the Humane Society, because at that point they were helping children more than they were helping animals, because the need was so great.
Wow.
So But again, it was a very like hushed situation. She knows nothing about her birth parents. She knows the hospital she was born in, but she doesn't have a desire to look into that, which is fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, the way things are done has drastically changed, even within, I would say, the last decade.
Right. Yeah. Wow. That's very enlightening. I forget to think back like that far and what it used to be like. So, let me ask you this. Let's say I've got a friend who wants to adopt. I don't know. To quote the movie Scarlett O'Hara, I don't know nothing about no adoption. That's the DSV. I don't know. So I've got a friend who says they want to adopt. How do I support them? I mean, do I ask questions? Because I'm sure, I would have a ton more earlier before I met you. But, so if you've got a friend who wants to adopt, what would you say to them? How could I support them?
Sure. So there's multiple ways. I would, number one, commend them. They're looking to do good in the world. So be as supportive as possible. Ways that you can do that, you can offer to run an individual fundraiser for them. There's lots of organizations. Actually, the earrings that I'm wearing today were bought in support of someone's adoption fundraiser. So there are,
and they're fabulous, by the way. I'm just
Thanks.
Because honestly, I've noticed them. Like since she walked in, I'm like, oh, look at those earrings.
Yeah. So there's lots of things like that even tangibly you can help with.
Sure.
And then when they receive a placement and they bring a baby home, don't treat them any differently than people who have gotten a baby through traditional means. Still host a baby shower for them. Start a meal train, because they still are sleep deprived parents. They are. But yeah, I would say those are some of the main ways. It's fun still hosting a gender reveal party for them and things like that. They still want to feel as kind of quote unquote normal of parents as possible. And especially if they're first time parents, all of those special things just help.
Yeah.
So
okay. That's cool. That's cool. Good to know. And don't be hitting me up. No, I'm kidding. If you're going to adopt and you know me, let me know. Okay. We'll figure something out. But speaking of hitting up, this tied in beautifully, Michelle. So one of the main reasons I wanted to have Michelle on today is in a month, actually less than a month.
Yes.
We are going to be together at an event, a very, very special event, a first ever event called Painted Purple.
Yes.
And it is the first annual, I'm prophesying, I'm speaking over this. It is the first annual night fundraising event. Yes, I was going to say gala, but that kind of sounds fancy. And, don't not come because you don't want to be fancy. Come as you are. So tell everybody a little bit about that.
If you want to dress up in purple, that's totally okay.
Absolutely. Not required, but encouraged.
Yeah.
There we go. And so tell everybody a little bit about Painted Purple. I'm going to post a link here while you're talking so that they can go buy tickets. Okay, bottom line, speaking of money, we want it.
Yep.
I'm just going to throw it out there.
Yeah. Support us supporting birth moms and expectant moms. So Painted Purple will be on April 26th. We are hosting it at Sassafras Springs Winery in Springdale, Arkansas. It will be a night of fun, live music. There will be a silent auction. We hope to not bring you to too many tears by sharing moving stories. But this is our first big fundraising event. Shared Beginnings as an organization, we're fairly new to the area. But we're excited for this night. Our special guest will actually be Dak Keys, who is the U.S. Attorney for the Western District of Arkansas. But yeah, we'll have lots of fun. Several of our moms will be there to share their stories. So it'll just be a special night. So if you've been touched by adoption, or you know someone who's been touched by adoption, really helping us support these moms also helps support the community, because we're working on getting their whole family stable, working on education, making sure that healthcare access is there. So a lot of preventative care efforts are going into our organization.
Yeah, and that's what this fundraiser is raising funds for, right?
Yes.
So we're going to have food.
Yes.
We're going to have music.
Yes.
We're going to have a special speaker.
Yes.
We're going to have special speakers, because we're going to
Yes.
have moms. We're going to hear stories. Some adult beverages.
Yes.
Silent auction items.
Yes.
Right? It's the first one ever.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go back. I mean, you got to be at the first one.
Yeah.
And purple is optional, but that's the organization's color. So
It is.
if you want to come in purple, go for it.
We just thought
there?
that would be a cool way
Yeah.
to show all of our moms how much community support that there is.
Yeah.
So reversely, we want to emphasize to them that this is not just a singular organization. It's, again, dispelling that shame, right? They have a whole community behind them that's supporting them.
Yeah.
So come out and sport your purple.
And without them, without the birth moms, like, would you even be a mom right now?
No.
So, hello. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, we've got to encourage them.
Yeah.
So terrific. Well, Michelle, thank you. I know you have, a couple things on your plate. And so to get together today.
Just a kid's dental appointment this afternoon.
And a fundraiser and a job.
Well, yeah.
Anyway, but so thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you
and
for having me.
absolutely, it was my pleasure. And we're going to be having a whole lot of fun. What's the date again?
April 26th.
April 26th at Sassafras Springs in Springdale. You can get your tickets through that link. Hit me up. I can hook you up. We got tickets, not a problem. And we'll see you there. So thank all of you all for watching the live, for watching the recording, for sharing this, okay? I always give a shout out when I wrap up. And today, of course, I want to give a shout out, of course, to Michelle Monte, but also to all the birth moms out there. Because of you, somebody else gets to experience the joys of motherhood as well.
Mm-hmm.
So a shout out to birth moms everywhere.
Yeah.
And also a reminder that you can live today and every day as a well-done life through shared beginnings. Bye for now. See you soon.